Have you considered your church greeting team lately? Are they doing a good job giving people a first impression of who your church is? Or are they maybe weirding people out and scaring them off? Church greeters are, as far as in-person visiting on a Sunday, the first impression of your church. So they're vital. But what happens when greeters maybe go astray or take a negative wrong turn in their approach to greeting? Let's go down that road and unpack 5 things that you don't want your church greeters doing on a Sunday. Hi, I'm Ian Hyatt. I'm our lead consultant here at REACHRIGHT. By the way, we put this content out constantly here at REACHRIGHT. If you haven't already done so, hit like, subscribe, start following us. We're happy to provide content ongoing for you. All right, so let's dig into the 5 things you don't want your church's greeting team doing on a Sunday when they're greeting visitors. The first one is you don't want them to rebuke first-time visitors. This might sound funny, but I have a friend who was rebuked pretty thoroughly when he and his wife and kids were visiting for the first time at this local church. Well, they were running a few minutes late this particular Sunday, and they came in late, and the first thing that they were greeted with was a greeter telling them, "Oh, hey, our pastor hates it when people show up late. So if you guys, can, next time you come, be on time and prompt so that you can hear his whole entire message." Probably not a good idea for your church greeters to rebuke someone right off the bat whenever someone is entering to the church for the first time. Even if they were late, thank them for coming. And hey, because they were late, they may just need quick instructions on how to check their kids in and just point out, hey, if you need to use the restroom here, service has started, but we have a seat for you. Remember, these people are new. They're not looking to be corrected for the first time whenever they show up and walk through your doors of the church there. All right, the second thing you don't want your church greeters doing is spending too much time talking to the visitor. When people are showing up to church, they often are late, or they're often just looking to come in and they get settled and know where to go. And you don't really want to have an entire conversation or hold them up at the doorway. People are just expecting a brief, warm greeting and invite into your church, and perhaps just directions on to the welcome center where they check their kids in for the first time right at the doorway. So we don't want to spend too much time there, even though people probably mean well when they want to do that. All right, number 3 is don't have your greeters be over spiritual. Maybe someone shows up and a greeter just, they mean well again and they want to minister to someone, and they say something like, "Hey, you may have shown up here broken and lost, but when you leave, you're going to be found and whole." No, we don't want them saying something like that to weird someone out when they first show up. I remember visiting a church for the first time, and it was a church that was more on the Pentecostal and Spirit-filled side, which was great and what I was looking for at that time. But when I showed up, one of the first people to greet me blew wind in my face. He literally blew in my face and it said, "Expect to feel the wind of God here today." Again, people mean well and everyone wants to be able to minister to someone at some point, but again, someone is coming in for the first time. They know they're going to hear a message that maybe helps them in their brokenness or whatever it is they're going through, but they don't need to hear it at the front door. All right, and the 4th thing that we don't want our greeters doing on a Sunday when visitors come is to be ignorant. We do not want them to be ignorant. We need them to understand the workings of the church, particularly as it relates to a visitor coming. They need to know where they can send the visitor if they have certain questions. Maybe it's a question of course, how to check their kids in, where the restrooms are at. If there's a certain pastor they connected with or ministry leader that was looking for them, where they may be, guiding them to the welcome center. Or someone may have questions about how long the service is or the worship style or something like that that can be answered briefly. You want your greeters to be knowledgeable, and they need to be equipped to be able to guide visitors where they need to go quickly and not be stumped for an answer or not know where to send a new visitor. This could be a turnoff to folks and could deter them from coming back to your church a second time or even coming through the doors for the first time. And the fifth and final thing that we don't want our church greeters doing on a Sunday is being unauthentic. We want to be authentic people. People should be authentic. Greeters should naturally be people. They should be friendly people that like other people. We all know when someone's being unauthentic or trying too hard, when it's just not a good fit for someone to be up there. If there's naturally someone who just has a demeanor about them that's not friendly, or if they're just stoic or just have maybe a mean look on their face, that's going to come across as not authentically loving and greeting a first-time visitor. People know when someone's trying too hard or something's unnatural, and often that'll create hiccups and just where someone says something unnatural at the door, or someone's grasping at straws to be friendly, or tell someone something confusing at the door. We want our greeters to be people and authentic. And after all, your church authentically wants to reach first-time visitors, and you want them to come back a second time and a third time and more. And so let's have our greeters be authentic in their approach. Well, there you have it. There's 5 things we don't want our greeters doing on a Sunday. Maybe this was helpful, causes you to kind of just do a little checkup on how your greeters are operating there, and if they're doing a good job of things, or if things got a little weird there for a little bit. So as always, we hope our content is helpful. If it was helpful, you can like, subscribe if you haven't already. And by the way, this video up here might be a good reference for you if you're looking for good church assimilation strategies for getting visitors connected, which happens after the greeting.